Good morning, everyone. This is Liane. This is From the Heart, and this is an episode that I just feel the need to do again. This is about maternal death and the drastic increase that we are seeing in the country of Canada. It's something. And there isn't very much being done about it. It's not discussed very much, and we need to talk about it on a regular basis so that we pick up the slack here. Over the last 2 decades, where I've been watching the maternal mortality rate, it's been kind of just like flat. It's just been around like 5 per 100,000. It's just been doing this for a while. And then in 2022, it increased. And then in 2023, really increased. It's the point where it is at 18, maybe 19, and it's either one. Per 100,000 births. So that's a really, really drastic increase, because to get to that point where people at the prime of life, you're not only alive and well, you are creating life. This is the prime of life, okay, guys? Like, I know a lot of people want to instill fear in people that are pregnant. Pregnancy is not an illness. Pregnancy is like, no, like your pregnancy is the prime of life. This is the healthiest state that someone can be in. And to have that increase, there's a lot of other things that are happening that we are not gathering data on. And the data is not really coming out on. And so we need to look at that. And I know that, like I said, that it increased in 2022 and 2023, and it's really easy to think that we can pinpoint what it is. And that's like something that we can absolutely look at, things that are easy to pinpoint, but we also have to look at the things that are not easy to pinpoint. What has been going on for the last decade? What have we changed in the last 2 decades that we need to look at, right? We've been like this is just an easy example, super easy example. We have been increasing the indications for all sorts of things like induction and listening to the baby's heart rate continuously, which increases all of those, like those things increase intervention, and an intervention increases risk, like hemorrhage and infection and DVT and nicks to the bladder and nicks to the internal organs, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, like it increases a lot of things here. So these are not things like, I know that they're little things, but what they have an impact on, those are not little things. So we absolutely need to look at all those things, not just the things that I'm mentioning here. We need to look at all of that. Honestly, we need to like ruffle feathers, like the increase started in 2022, and then it really increased in 2023. So what has changed right before then? During that time, we were all in lockdown. What is the impact of isolation on the population? I speak about that in every episode. We also had the vaccinations. We need to look at what that happened. This is a different kind of vaccination. We need to look at the impact of that. That is just good healthcare. That's just good science. Point final. We need to look at all of those things. If we're not ready to look at those things that people deem controversial and don't want to look at, they're just not on the same page of wanting to figure out what we can do to reduce the mortality rate here. In the same vein, we're looking at, mortality, maternal mortality rates. The same thing has been happening in the population overall. So population overall, there's always been, like, not always, but recently, in the last decade, there's been an increase, slight increase, because the population has been aging. And like the aging population has been increasing. So we have been seeing an increase here in mortality rates overall for all of Canada. And then we saw the same thing, like my little figure, like my little finger is not accurate here, okay? But like we've seen a bigger increase here. But I will repeat, okay, that when a woman is pregnant, she is at the prime of life. So if we are increasing mortality rate at the time where people are at the prime of life, there's something much deeper. Maybe we have to look at things that are also beyond just obstetric, because our health, like in just a day-to-day basis, impacts pregnancy and birth, etc. Right? So we have to look at these things. I'm very disappointed that people are not speaking of this. This is, like, I know that people may not want to instill fear in clients, but it's even scarier when no one is speaking of it. Like, there's like, where's the protection here? Where is everyone turning the page and looking at where the evidence and the lack of evidence and what we can do differently? Like, there's so much that we can do. Like, my entire podcast is actually about, like, at the back of my mind, I'm like, even the episode I did with Teo, like, I'm like, people need to remember the importance of a mom, the importance of a mother, right? Like, you know, and Teo says it so well. I love you. You know, like he like his family is so important to him. And so, like, you know, we like it's really hard for us as the people who provide care, the people who provide recommendations, the people who provide, you know, we are being told certain things. We don't have time. We don't have energy to look through how accurate that information is. We're not looking at, you know, we can't even have a critical mind. Like, we can't even look beyond. We can only memorize. That's how we survive. If we're not burnt out, we're not working hard enough. And that's just the mentality of like the environment culture of being a baby catcher. And so I like, this is where we need to go. We need to realize that data is fraudulent, and we always need to keep our skeptical mind on. We also, so like, this is where I really think that we are going. We are going to a place where we are going to stop looking at science and like data as above us, as God, as we have to follow what the authority is saying. We are moving away from that. We also have to move away right now. There's like this like polarity. There's people who are like, oh, like what my midwife or my doctor or what the nurse, what the blah, blah, blah says. I have to follow what they say. I have to follow to a T, right? Like, not even question or ask more questions. Like, I have to, like, they are the ones who are going to tell me what I have to do with my body. We're moving away from that, and we're also moving away from this polarity. We're learning from the other polarity of people who don't trust anything. Everything is bad. All care providers are bad. Like you know, there's like that movement of free birth, and not that everyone in the free birth mentality thinks like that. I'm not sure. I don't know. But there is a movement where everyone wants to label someone as good or bad. That's really simplistic thinking. Like, it's like good or bad is like movies when we're 5 years old, right? Like, it's not like that. And we need to move to just a natural amount of skepticism. What is it that I want to know more about that? Like my ultrasound came back with a soft marker. What does that mean? And what is the evidence for that? My doctor says that I need to have an extra ultrasound. My doctor says I don't need to do anything. What is a soft marker? Why did I even go to the first ultrasound? Right? Like that's where we're going. And then for the next test, the next ultrasound, if there's going to be another one, if the next test are going to be like, no, I want to know how this is going to impact my pregnancy. Tell me, what happens if this comes back positive? What happens if this comes back negative? What happens to the pregnancy? What happens to who am I going to see? How many more visits am I going to have? Asking, what is the evidence for that? What is the impact on my health if I do this, right? That's where we're going. We're going to we're going to have more information. We're going to respect autonomy a lot more, right? We were in the extreme of not respecting autonomy. We are moving towards respecting autonomy. And we're like learning from these two extremes, like no trust anybody. I trust them to a T like they're gods, we're learning. We're going to have to meet in the middle here. The care that I provided to my clients, I can't tell, it's so hard to tell. It's so hard to tell what is evidence-based and what is not. It's so hard to tell. It's so hard to find out. I think that care providers need to put on that skepticism hat of not the extremes, but just the little hat of I'm going to question that. They're going to give me another black and white guideline. I'm going to be okay, have we looked at all the research? No. Okay, we didn't. We looked at 3 studies. Okay, what about all the other 20 ones? The other 20s, the other 20 other studies that we didn't look at. And then looking at that, and then looking at more, and then expanding our mind, and then realizing that there is no one size fits all. There's no one size fits all. Black and white just doesn't exist. And we're not meant to do that. And we can have a lot more thorough discussions with clients. We can provide care very, very differently than we are. I do think that care where we are providing like a 2-hour session on one thing can happen to 12 people at a time, 8 people at a time, and then clients can decide what they want. And we tell them not to impact with their biases to the other people so that everyone gets to do what is right for them. We do have to be mindful that when we provide information to people, all of us go to the easy kind of solution, the easy kind of thought, so we have to be careful of that. Science in its pure essence knows that we know nothing. That's what science is. It's not a god. It doesn't tell us what to do. Okay? It doesn't it's just not that. It's not an authority. There's a lot more nuance. It's just nuance. That's what it is. Science is we don't know. We don't know anything. Okay. So we do know, that taking people's blood pressures once in a while in pregnancy does, better the care, the outcome for the pregnant person. We do know that. But overall, how we do that and how we manage it, we can always ask more questions. So that's where we need to go, is to ask more questions. I will speak about the increase in maternal mortality all the time now. We can't just wait. We can't just watch. We can't just do nothing. There is the universe, the divine God, whatever, what is asking us, okay, I'm going to make things really hard on you guys. I'm going to give you guys, okay, we're going to call it challenge. It's much bigger than a challenge here, okay? It's, it's devastating. What we're seeing is devastating, but we can, and we are being asked to make things better. And there are lots of people out there who have lots of solutions and things that we can look at. Healthcare reform Like everyone who works in healthcare is disappointed. Everyone who seeks healthcare is disappointed. It's the time. It's the time where we can change minute things as well as the big things. It's not necessarily about the wait time in the ER. It's really about the quality of care. And because being seen faster just means that you are going to get less care when you're seen. But this could be like a completely different system where there's more people available. It's not just a doctor treating you. We can just like go and we can experiment. We can do all sorts of research. We don't need to do research that is just comparing to placebo. No, like we can do research so much better. We can gather our own data. It doesn't need to be funded by a big pharma. Like none of that. We can go way beyond what we have been doing. We're like seriously, we're capable, and I will let you know. Absolutely, like I left midwifery because I'm not capable of like witnessing what care providers are witnessing. It like I just don't have it in me to see that. Like I would go bonkers. No, like I have to prioritize my own life, my own well-being. I can't put myself through that. And kudos to the people who are witnessing that and putting themselves through that while they're burnt out. It's just not a thing for me anymore. And as healthcare providers, we can take care of ourselves. We can do things that work a lot better for the client as well as better for us. It's like it's time, and the longer that we wait, the worse things are going to get. Yeah, let's do better. We can do better. And there's lots of people who want to do better. There's nobody that went to midwifery school, nursing school, physician school, all the other schools to see outcomes worsen. Everyone, even if you went to school because you wanted to look good to your family, look at how smart I am. Like even if you had that like sort of thing in purpose, or that's purpose, intention, even if you did that, there's no way that anyone wanted to see this sort of outcome. There's no way, because there's more good. There is more. We all come back to our hearts. We don't want to see these. There's nobody who wants to see this. So, this like we can, and some of us will quit, and some of us will continue working, but like the discussion has got to go. It's got to keep rolling. This is a time where we need to look at everything that is evidence-based, not evidence-based. How evidence-based is it? Just evidence-based. What matters? What impacts what? We can step into informed choice here, like really well. We can do things so much better. We can gain trust, not by manipulating anything, but by being true. People can feel the truth. People will come back to the truth. There's no need to tell people they're wrong. There's no need to tell clients that they're wrong because they're choosing something that you're not supposed to support. When a client decides to do a certain thing, and then we've been taught to be like, oh, I can't believe she did that, and then we kind of become it's a type of regression, basically. We need to learn to step out of that. And of course, I have my own biases. If a client told me that she was willing to take a risk and that I just didn't understand, I would be frazzled, and I only remember that happening once in my career, but this is what we're stepping away from, right? So, it's like a return to, not a return, because was there ever information, but it's coming back to like, we're like learning from the two extremes and coming back to the middle and realizing that everyone can make their own decisions. That's what I think that we're going to do, stepping more into intuition. And I'm not sure how, I'm sure someone else knows how, but because research and data can be so fraudulent, I think that we're going to have to come up with systems and ways of expecting truth from that, right? Because it's also feels wrong for us to provide that information to clients. Like, it's just, we need to, like, we're going to have to come up with some sort of system where there's just more integrity, and that we can rely more on, or maybe we just won't rely on anything. We'll see where the world goes. Honestly, like, the world is asking us to do and see things differently and do things differently. Yeah. And so I'm excited. I'm excited to see the maternal mortality in anything that is not necessary, and it's a lot of it's unnecessary, like, just drop. And let's like start comparing ourselves to countries that have better stats than us and learn from them. And yeah, this is a really great opportunity for us to do better. It's a really great opportunity to protect the public. So if that's a mandate in your association, your college, your whatever structure that you are implemented in, take it on. Take it on. This is like, we are capable. Yeah. Okay. So thanks for listening. This is something that's like insanely important to my heart, to my life, has impacted my career, has turned my life around. We don't need to see any more like terrible, devastating outcomes. We don't need to see that anymore. Okay. Have a good day.